I think that's the reaction to become a conspiracy theorist. What actually caused that? And the cause of it is all the lies that we've been told. Is dishonesty, propaganda. These are the things that cause someone look for the alternative narrative.
Yes.
The point with it being that they've been telling us lies. By they, I mean mainstream media, government officials, and all these projects that been declassified and came out that was a conspiracy theory. There were rumors about it.
Yes.
People were conspire about it, and then suddenly came out that, oh no, it wasn't conspiracy. It was actually happening. Then it's like when you hear it, you're like, yeah, that's crazy, but these things that I've heard before were crazy too. It turned out to be true. So how should I think about this now? I think you can say any word if you don't have any malice in your heart.
Exactly.
But if you wanna, what is acceptable, what is politically correct, what is PC, then yeah, you cannot say anything. But I think we got a little lost with our use of words and like terminology, and then that decide that kind of judge overall intent, meaning behind it, and everything. And it's like it gets almost as like a game that we play.
Yeah.
You just don't say that word, but I know you have that feeling. You just express it in a different way. It doesn't matter if you don't use the word foreigner or like, oh, you brown people or this and that. If you say like people from third world, it's like, oh, so yeah, there you have it. That's how you see them. And the intent behind it is racist.
Yeah.
Whatever word you use, it doesn't matter. It does matter, but not as much that you give power to words.
Yes. While we're on the subject of this, I am almost allergic to being politically correct because we're really just pandering to big fat egos. I'm not really interested in big fat egos. They're always going to be offended by something.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So I don't. Yeah. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, but you can see these are the dividing subjects. Like all these things that become like highlighted by mainstream media outlets, news. It's just the topics to be divided over.
Thank you, Marnie. That's a really good, for me, a really good lead into what we're talking about today. Conspiracy.
Yeah.
And conspiracy theories, conspiracy theorists, the whole shooting works. And in my research on this, the thing that really came home to me was the power behind conspiracies is division. That's what you're saying there now. That is how conspirators get power. Divide and conquer. Create a fear, and then you've got control. So, yeah, and of course words are the weapons of conspirators. Oh, and I looked up the meaning of conspiracy. The literal definition is a conspiracy is when two or more people plan to do something illegal in secret. So that kind of leaves it wide open for a lot of how the world is, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess. Do you know when the term conspiracy theories or conspiracy theory came about?
We really don't.
Do you know who invented it?
No.
Okay, let's get into it.
I guess it's pretty old.
Yes, but not as old as you think.
All right.
Not as old as you think, my friend.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me just fact check myself before
Yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah.
Get some truth here to the matter.
Here it says conspiracy theory was, as far as we know at this point, first used in 1863 about claims that the Brits were acting to weaken the US during the Civil War.
Oh,
There is no official narrative, but there is a unofficial narrative about it that by the time that Roswell crash and everything, with the Roswell crash and the government trying to debunk and like say no, it was just a balloon or whatever, they invented it. They not invented it. They bring it out of the shelf
oh, sure. Yeah.
and like give to debunk and dismiss all these claims, all the sightings, all the eyewitnesses that see the events or whatever. They call them conspiracy theories, and it was just to, how do you say, just put someone down and label them. So they, yeah,
Sure.
in a derogatory term of conspiracy theories. So
When you think about it, though, I am pretty sure that the concept of conspiring to cheat or confuse others probably goes back to the beginning of time in some way. But what you're talking about is a very clearly known case, isn't it, with Roswell,
yeah,
because it was such a big cover-up. Yeah, but, you know, it's probably just unfortunately part of human nature, in one aspect of it. When we decided to talk about this, you know, I did some research into what conspiracies are, what conspiracy theorists are, and it's something that has always annoyed me, conspiracy theorists, because they are always right, and there's no room for the ones I've come across anyway. There's no room for debate or no room for movement in it. They're right. Everyone is against them, including me, if I don't agree with them. Quite tough. But looking at different categories of conspiracy theorists, and I've made a few here, I realize that I have a fair degree of all the categories in myself. So I got to learn to stop pointing finger at them. I have my own version of being a conspiracy theorist too.
okay. Can I tell you my opinion about what you said?
Yes, of course. That's why we're here.
Obviously, my opinion, but I'm just gonna express it. I think with everything, either if you're a conspiracy theorist, if you're just a productive member of society and take everything that you've been told as the fact and move on and get along with it, or if you're whatever a lane of thought or whatever you do in your life, you can be in different level of this. It's the same concept, but that's what I'm trying to say. Regardless if you're conspiracy theorists or scientists, you can be one of those 3 or 4, or maybe there are more way about it. Like if you're a scientist and you don't pay attention to anything outside of the science, and you just try to no, don't even talk about. If you cannot write it down with mathematic equation, then I don't want to hear it. Or if you're a conspiracy theorist and things are like way out of hand and you don't pay attention, like, oh no, there is no fact that proves, there is no fact-based evidence that I can relate to this conspiracy, but I still believe it wholeheartedly. So what I'm trying to say, I agree that they exist. I encounter some of them, but I think with everything else too.
Yes.
So it's not specific to conspiracy theories that they don't want to, like, there are hardcore conspiracy theories that they don't want to hear anything. It's like,
Yes,
you say like, oh, what a nice weather. It would be like, oh, it would be a nice weather if the clouds were real. And then you're like, oh, buddy, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to even say anything slightly weird. They already, in the,
Yeah.
they already at 100. So
You're already wrong. Yeah.
or like he just try to they just try to school you about what they know. That's
Yes.
what I'm trying to say, is that it's not only specific to conspiracy theories, but
Sure.
I surely agree with you that they exist. Those type of conspiracy theories exist.
Yes. I'm quite good at attracting them.
Yeah, that's why we're sitting here.
Well, like I said to you, I discovered some of me is on certain levels, which really surprises me. But there you go. But I'm not the sort that wants to shove it down anyone's throat and prove that I'm wrong and they're right. I'm not. That's not me. But what really may disturb me about myself looking at this, when I'm thinking about what a conspiracy is that I realize that the whole makeup of our society is a blatant conspiracy. That since the Industrial Revolution, we humans have been more or less turned into machines to create profit for industry. And that really our whole life structure is set up so that we work just the right amount to get a house and a car and food on the table. And by the time we're 65 or whatever, 7, we're not useful anymore, out the door. That's it. And it's not a natural lifestyle for us humans, nowhere near it. Yet you and I at least, and certainly our parents and grandparents and probably great-grandparents, have been spoon-fed that. This is what we think is normal. And in my opinion, that's a big fat conspiracy. I'm not against capitalism, but I'm against greed. That's the difference. So I'm suddenly realizing, oh my God, I am a conspiracy theorist because I'm stuck in that myself. We all are to some degree. I'm doing my best to get unstuck, but it's not that easy, to make my own reality inside of the greater reality of having to work all my life. I'm talking a lot, aren't I?
No, I'm listening.
Well, that was the first shock for me about conspiracy theorists, is that probably all of us have some degree of it in us because of just that fact. We're all in a similar situation with that. And then, of course, there are other huge conspiracies around us. I'm not quite sure if they are conspiracies, but I'll name them. And the first one I thought about is the Inquisition.
Before you go ahead with
Yes.
that, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I
Go ahead.
interrupted you. Can we just say why people become conspiracy theories? Like, talk a little about that, and then
Of course.
it
yeah.
paved the way for
Yes.
those conspiracy theories that
My version of being one is there's not much choice at the moment. It's we're stuck in it from my type of conspiracy theorist. But then I have another idea that some of them are people who maybe just want a cause to fight for, and these ones will jump from one conspiracy to the next, depending on what is the most fashionable conspiracy going around at the time. I think there's another category, and I see all of myself see myself in all these categories to some degree. So I'm not pointing finger completely.
Yeah.
The third one is people who really feel that life has let them down, and and at the same time don't take responsibility for their life, for their actions. They don't take control of it. Therefore, want a scapegoat to say, those people there, they're trying to take away my purpose in life. They're trying to take our money or whatever it is. It's like passing the buck. And I think that happens quite a lot. And I've myself get caught in that now and then. It's not my strongest one, but it's in me too. Then the last category that I thought of is people who are extremely intellectual and therefore lose touch with the heart, with our feeling nature. And for me, our feelings, our gut feelings, intuition, that's really the only thing I know of that we can really base our own personal common sense on. What feels real, what feels authentic. But if we haven't got that connection, man, that's tough. How can you tell from, if it's la-la stuff coming through or there's some degree of truth to it? Truth being a relative matter, but we'll get back to that.
So in terms of, okay, I'm just gonna get back to the first step.
Yeah.
I think people who are thinkers, they start to even go to the direction of becoming a conspiracy theorist or doubting the system or doubting the narrative that they hear, regardless of to what level
Sure.
they go. So to start with it, they're thinkers. And it can be they're thinkers with a good educations and intellect, or it can be they're thinkers with poor educations and not much of the science behind what they're saying or what they're thinking. Whatever.
Yeah.
So they can fill in the different categories of what you just categorized there. But what I'm thinking, what actually caused that? Because I think that's the reaction to become a conspiracy theorist. But what actually caused it? And what caused it is dishonesty, is propaganda.
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
These are the things that cause someone look for the alternative narrative.
Yes.
About whatever. It can be about sport that you like. It can be about archaeology. It can be about, I don't know, whatever, global warming.
Yeah.
From the very important topics to not much at all important topics.
And I would put myself in that category, definitely.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, we just talk about the effect and how far the effect can go.
Yes.
But what about the cause of it? And the cause of it, I think, is all the lies that we've been told.
Yeah.
And after a while, it was like, yeah, it was a lie, but we did it with love in our heart, because at the moment it was necessary for you to be told that this is it and you should act like that. And it happened with COVID. It happened with a lot of big events in history.
Yes.
That now we know it wasn't like that.
But I would like to say, I agree totally, Marnie, but I would like to say at this point that I don't think we've ever had propaganda-free media, not completely. I guarantee you there's always been some degree of colouring one way or the other, and probably always will be, so which doesn't help the matters at all, does it? It comes back to then that what is truth. But we'll move on to that later, I guess.
Yeah. So the point with it being that we've been told lies. They've been telling us lies. And by they, I mean it can be mainstream media, government officials, and this and that. All these projects that been declassified and came out that was a conspiracy theory. There were rumors about it.
Yes.
People were conspire about it, and then suddenly came out that, oh no, it wasn't conspiracy. It was actually happening. And then it gives only power, it adds power to not to those conspiracy to be more. It's like when you hear it, you're like, yeah, that's crazy, but yeah, but these things that I've heard before were crazy too. It turned out that to be true. So how should I think about this now?
Yes.
I'm in that place right now.
Mm.
I don't debunk or dismiss anything. As you can tell me the craziest thing,
Mm.
and it's like, obviously it's like, yeah, that's over the top now, but I'm like, yeah, I want to hear more about it.
Well, it's
Not
good.
that I accept it or debunk it or dismiss it, neither of that, but I want to hear it like I'm you.
Yes.
I want to see how you think.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna remove myself from the conversation, remove my judgment or my reaction to it. I'm just gonna see it as you see it,
Mm.
and see if at the end, if I come up with the same result, same conclusion.
Good.
If I do, then I'm like, oh man, yeah, now I see what you're saying. But if I don't, I'm not going to try to, like, convince you, like, yeah, you have to drop it, it doesn't work. But then at least I can see how it doesn't work.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
that's where I am now.
well said. I would like to think I was pretty close to what you were saying too, Marnie. Yeah. I'm always, generally in life, looking to find my truth in matters. Yeah, definitely. And like you, I will not ever dismiss anything completely until I've really worked it through and listened to it and see where does that fit with me? Is it my truth or not?
If you want to continue with your things that you were saying.
The big ones. I'm not quite sure that we can count these as conspiracies because they're so obvious. But maybe the greatest conspiracy of all time was the Catholic Inquisition, the witch hunts, which I believe was about the 1400s, 1500s, probably went on even longer. But why I say it might not really be a conspiracy is because it was, they said what they were doing and did it, looking for something that wasn't actually there as a means of gaining control over the masses.
And now we have the term, oh, they went witch hunting.
We do.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Funny how language works.
And then there's a smaller version of that in the late 40s and 50s in the United States with the Reds under the bed communist hunt, the government creating great fear again. The commies were out to get everyone, probably again just as a means of power, of controlling, creating the fear of the communists are coming to get you, watch out, guys, and it was a very destructive thing, But
Same thing that Israel trying to do now with Muslims.
Oh, I'm sure.
Saying, oh, if we don't go attack Iran and this and that, all these radical Muslims will come and get you in your countries, in Western countries.
Oh, that's a bit of a hot one there, Mani.
I know.
But this pattern, I guess we can call them conspiracies, even though they're open ones. Open in that, well, people are saying, oh, it is. But it's going back to that term we started with, is division, is the division through fear is the power behind conspiracies in some way, isn't it? No fear, no conspiracy, no need for it, So it's like I said, it's probably something we humans have done since time's beginning, but really good to look at what is the power behind it, and it is that just fear, And I think this is the sign of a good politician or a really bad one, if a politician is creating division, you should probably run like hell from that person. And vice versa. If you've got someone that's creating unity, man, that's going to be healthy for us.
If you want to name someone that was in that journey or in that,
Well, obvious ones.
it took that approach
Yes.
to create unity, who would you name?
Oh, goodness me. Nelson Mandela. It's what instinctively comes to mind. But Kofi Annan, who was head of United Nations, really, really good man. And Nelson Mandela too. You think he had 27 years stuffed in jail because of people who didn't want unity, the white leaders of South Africa.
And some people believe he died in the prison, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Mandela effect.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've been there, done that,
Yeah,
Marnie.
we just talk about conspiracy theories, so it's one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, there you go. That's another concept. Anyway, I mean, I think he died too early and probably didn't manage to create everything that he could have, but he did do a lot of good just by holding that vision all that time.
Anyone in US?
Martin Luther King.
Yeah,
He was probably the greatest one I can think of. Because, as he said, this great speech, I have a dream. I can't remember all the words, but the words were that all Americans will be one. All humans will be one. Yeah. Don't get better than that. Is that, That's a really good question, Marnie. I'm just trying to find some more. In a strange way,
Donald Trump.
right? They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets.
Yes, he's trying to unite all the white people.
Yes, and with fear, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't want to judge the man. I guess he's doing his best, but I didn't see him create much unity in his time in office.
No.
Did you?
No.
So this is a really good. This is my what's the word? Marker for. No, I don't mean just for politicians, but any person. If we're trying to unite people, we're really on the right track. And any moment there's division, criticism of others, or any sort of pulling apart, then we're back in conspiracy country, really.
Yeah.
In some manner or form. I know conspiracies are probably not always black and white. There are probably some degrees, and like I heard Kamala Harris saying some pretty bad stuff about Trump, and I was very sad to hear that. Whether it's true or not, it's not another matter. That's not the issue. I would
The approach.
Yes, I would have liked to have thought that she would be more of a uniter,
Yeah.
an inspirer, and maybe she is.
Is that even the objective, to be like uniting the people? I don't feel it. Maybe they say it in words, but I don't feel it.
Well, there you go. Well, yeah, you got a good point.
It's like you say it, but you do differently, and like your goal, your aim is not to unite; it's to divide and get your favorite result out of it.
Yes.
Everywhere, not US, everywhere.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Just a little easier to see in US right now.
Yeah.
Not really picking on them, are we?
Exactly.
Another uniter, I'm sure that I will have people disagreeing with me on this one, but I grew up in Singapore while it was still a British colony, and we left it right when Lee Kuan Yew took over, and I saw him do some amazing stuff with that country, and it's taken it to where it is today. I'm not saying it's all totally good and wonderful, but it's a darn sight better than what it was when we lived there. So he's one of my great uniters too. Bless his heart, he's gone on now. Dalai Lama, of course, so he's not a politician, but that's always his message too.
They don't have to be politicians, just
No,
public
of course.
figures.
Yeah. Act with love. Be kind. That's his motto. Kindness is my religion.
Mm.
You know, kindness is the uniting force.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Gee, Money, we're not talking about conspiracy theorists anymore, are we? But that's very related, I think.
It's controversial to talk about kindness and to talk about it's like
Thank you.
you live in a like a la la land when you talk about
Yeah.
kindness, peace and love. What if a person comes with a gun to your house? Then you're gonna kiss his cheek and try to like solve the issue there. But the truth is
Maybe.
yeah, we can try that, yeah. But the
Well,
issue is kindness should come from higher level,
Yes.
like hierarchy, spirit kindness.
Yes.
Then that person that, as a result of not getting any love, not getting the things that he or she needs, will come and try to grab it by force.
Yes.
So kindness is the answer. Love is the answer at the end.
Thank you. Yes.
How and where should we start with it? It's from hierarchy.
Of
And
course.
unfortunately, I think, call me a conspiracy theorist, I think that's not the aim. That's not the
Yes.
objective from hierarchy, from people that govern, from
most
authorities.
hierarchies, yes.
And
Yeah.
they're not trying to
No.
unite, or they're not trying to see peaceful and loving
No.
society.
Well, if we go back to my original complaint of that, that our whole society is a form of conspiracy, going back to the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, we're all in it. We're all stuck in it, including the leaders. So I don't want to be too mean on them. I mean, I would love to think that it was true that that love and peace was starting from the top, but they're just us too. I think the only thing we can do that's real is start right here, and that sounds like a big fat cliche too, but it's what we got to work with.
Actually, you're right. You're right by saying that.
Yeah, and send some of it upwards.
So, conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists. Can you name some of the conspiracy theories that kind of tickle your pickle to be to become one, to become a conspiracy
to become
theorist?
one? Oh no.
You're not conspiracy theorist.
I can tell you some that I do not want to know about. The one that really stuck in my gullet was, Putin's such a kind man. He has to invade Ukraine to save them from the pedophiles and the Nazis.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right.
That's more of propaganda than conspiracy, I would say.
Well, it's supposed to make us want to support lovely Mr. Angelic Putin.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's why I'm supporting Putin. Fuck, I didn't know.
I'm serious. I mean, it's a few years ago. Well, some years ago now, but that was the main conspiracy thing. No, we stand behind Putin. He's going to really save them. Look how stupid the Ukrainians are. They're all pedophiles. They're all Nazis. We've got to save them from themselves.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I heard about the fascist party there in Ukraine.
Oh, I'm sure they got one. Who hasn't? We've got one here.
Yes,
Right under our noses. They probably want to get us
on top of noses.
on top of noses.
Yeah.
We probably want to get us kicked pretty smartly.
Yeah, why not? Not blue blood. Get out of here. Oh.
Yes, you got it. And I've heard some stuff about Trump too, but I've actually forgotten what it was now. But it was something similar that he was going to do all these saintly things and save the planet. And I seriously can't specifically remember what they were, but it was something similar to.
Where does that come from? That rumors or conspiracy?
From one of the many people that I seem to attract around me. I can't remember where they got it from. I don't
He's
kind
a
of listen.
businessman.
Yeah.
He never claims to be anything else. He himself. He says, I'm a businessman.
Yes.
And he believes as a businessman he can run USA or any other country to the most effective way, like a highest efficient way. To
Yes.
run a country is to be a good businessman.
Yes.
And he never claims he's a good politician. At least I've never heard he claims that. He say, I'm a businessman. So however you want to look at him, listen to what he says about himself first.
Yes.
So if you want to say he's a saint, he's this, he's that, he's a businessman.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that should say everything that you need to know about him.
Yes.
Not really, but yeah.
I would like to come back to truth now,
Yes.
because this is my real hot potato, and mainly because it's something that I'm still working on sorting out myself, and probably never will. But truth is something that conspiracy theorists use as their, ammunition. But in my opinion, truth is subjective. I don't care what anyone says, it's subjective. Everyone has their own truth, and there is no universal one correct truth. It just isn't. And as you said before we started, Mani, that even like with facts can differ. Facts can move depending on what we know, you know. Think about the truth earlier last century about where we came from, what we were made up of before DNA was discovered. Suddenly the former truth wasn't truth anymore. Of course, that's as good as we knew then, but my point is truth shifts. Even what we call universal truths, the universal truths shift with what we humans can comprehend and understand. So what I'm saying with that is the best I can suggest for people when it comes to looking for truth is coming back to our own personal gut feeling, our deep intuition. What is it telling us? And that the truth must relate just to us. It does not have to relate to the rest of everyone else. Because then if we start trying to put our truths on others, then we're really in the doo-doos. What's your take on truth?
Yeah, I think it's subjective, but I think we can call something truth when we are at the point that we can, with no doubt, determine that this is truth. And we're not at that point.
No. Well, for example, what I just said about truth, that's my version of truth right now, as I understand it. But maybe in 5 minutes I might get smarter, or 5 years or 50 years, and have another version. And that will be true for me then too. But
even for our front runners in whatever lane of science or whatever, they discover new things that questions their previous facts.
yes,
That's what I'm trying to say. We're not at that point to say this is truth. This is the recent, the best we can say.
this is the current truth.
This is the current truth.
Yes.
And we're going to play with it until something
Yeah.
like change that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, then you have to be flexible. You have to have a flexible mindset to
Absolutely. Yeah.
be able to entertain different point of views and about the subject, about whatever that it is
Yeah.
that you're thinking about. And then you're open-minded, then you would probably receive more information, regardless of if you receive like useful information
Yes.
or just, crap.
Well said, Mani. I agree. Yeah.
But still, it's better to have 10 sources about something than have one source that you like. Usually people get to the trouble of even become a cult member because they just focus on one thing.
Yeah.
and they shut off all the other narratives, all the other sources that says otherwise, contrary to what they want to believe and what they really like. And I think then you become narrow-minded. That's the definition of being narrow-minded. It doesn't matter if you're a scientist or a cult member.
Oh, yeah.
If you have the same approach,
Yes.
then it's your loss.
Absolutely.
It's not no one else's loss. It's your loss that you don't get like a full picture of what is going on.
Yes. Yeah. So that's a good point. Okay, I'm just thinking open-mindedness, uniting rather than dividing, and finding our own truth. To me, I just see those three things starting to emerge from our talk here. If someone's stuck into a...
With that last one, you sound like a conspiracy theorist, finding your own truth. Do your own research.
Yeah.
Yes. People hate it when they hear it. You want to do your own research with all these scientists
Really?
spending their whole life to figuring things out, and you just sit in your pajama in your basement, in your mom's basement, and saying like, yeah, I want to do my own research. I know people do that. We just read it before we start recording. You just say, look what comes in my feed on Facebook. So like I understand those people exist as well, like they're in their mom's basements and whatever, but I understand people with great credentials and like very wealthy and like on top of scientific community, they say things other than what we hear like in mainstream media, and like what is the main narrative is about science, whatever topic. So how can you explain them? How can you dismiss them? Yeah, that person in the basement maybe don't have enough information or right sources to be able to get to the truth, for the lack of better term. But how can you explain a scientist that teach in university, in one of the top university in USA, that says the same thing that that guy in the basement says? How can you explain that? How can you dismiss that? When someone talk like that, I really want to sit down with them and see, okay, if you want to dismiss something, either you make it personal, because it's the easiest approach. If you say something and I don't have a immediate answer to what you're saying, I'm gonna go from different angle. I'm gonna attack you personally and say, what is your education? How did you come up with this information? Because in my head, I'm right, I come from I know the truth, and I just have to defend my truth and just dismiss you however I can. So these people are kind of, I cannot say these people are the problem, but they're, they're contributing to the people being polarized over something.
So you mean that the very intelligent scientist might be trying to say, look, I know this because blah, 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 and you don't know. But that in itself is creating a division anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, but even that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
No, I'm like a average person that says those stuff. They're like, because we read it together. She was like, oh, these people like just sitting down and like writing like, oh, I don't believe this and that, trying to dismiss and like diminish the scientists that spend their whole life trying to figure out something. But at the same time, it's like, but there are other scientists that spend the same amount of time and energy and whatever to study the same topic and come up with a different result that is matching that person in the basement that match what what they're saying is matching the person in the basement, what that person says.
Yeah.
So how can you explain that? Not all of them, not everything that they say, but some of them. So then, as you said, truth is subjective.
Yes.
So,
but you said it before too. Being open, and I think that's equally important. To me, that's the thing that I hear you saying that the person in the basement's not doing. You know, it's like when you shut something off and say, "Oh, I'm right and you're wrong."
yeah,
That's division immediately, isn't it? Yeah.
that's the end of conversation.
Yes.
Sometimes conversation ends before the words end.
Oh, absolutely.
And I've seen so many of them. And sometimes, like when I'm talking to someone and they're responding, and I'm like, it's like I stop like I'm like, oh, so you already in your mind you receive what I want to express,
Yes.
but you don't want to accept that. So from this point on, whatever you say is not to debunk, it's not to convince me, it's to convince yourself.
Yes.
Then I stop talking. Then I'm like, oh yeah, maybe you're right about that.
I've been the person in the basement and the scientist. Believe me, I've got some of both in me. So
I guess all of us does.
Yeah, and it's really something to watch. You know, am I being closed-minded when I hear something we were talking about before we started? You know, things that just way off mark, but still. You know, as you said it yourself, then it's really good to listen through to the whole person and what the crazy story is about. You know, is there truth here? You know, for me, etc. So it's that openness again. That's the difference, isn't it? You know, between either person going, you know, I'm right. You know, and you're going to believe me. What, you're wrong, and oh man, I get upset even thinking about this, Marnie.
I guess when we stop learning, like all those things, if you are aware of your statement, not the statement, if you're aware of the state of your mind,
yes,
and you are learning, you're aware of that. No, I'm still learning about all the topics that I've been study or whatever. I'm still learning about them, and every day comes a new information. Every day comes a new way of look at it. Comes a new perspective. Comes a new idea or opinion about it. So, the openness is to keep learning.
Always, yeah.
And it doesn't mean like you're not gonna come across like crap in your way or always get useful information. But openness is that, I can learn from misinformation, disinformation too. I can learn from anything.
Yeah.
I should be open to hear it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't debunk. Like if your approach is to debunk, you can debunk the Earth is flat. The Earth is a globe.
Yes.
You can debunk it.
Yes, of course.
Or contrary, you can debunk the Earth is flat. If that's your, that's your goal.
Yes, it's like you got a predetermined answer.
Predetermined,
or opinion.
Yeah. Confirmation bias. Like you just go through it to confirm your biased opinion.
I would say what you just said is one of the biggest challenges for probably most people to learn new things, and especially including myself. I'm a little bit happy that I can usually see if I have got a strong bias, and I'm aware of it. But there are probably ones I'm not aware of, But I see that as a major stumbling point for most of us. And it's just because a lot of us have got big fat egos, and want to decide how things are and want to be besserwissers and know best, including me. I'm quite good at being a besserwisser, in case you haven't noticed. But I'm aware of it.
So let's mention some conspiracy. Okay, I'm going to talk about this one that is like boggling my mind for a while. This Great Reset. Have you heard about it?
The Great Reset.
Yeah.
No.
Supposed to took place in late 1800, early 1900.
Okay.
And is connected to Tartaria. They talk about Tartarian and Tartarian Empire. And what I'm seeing is it's just fun to watch those videos and like listen
I
to
have
those people.
seen a few. Yeah.
But what I'm seeing, the evidence of it is like all these buildings, all these structures that somehow we stop building.
Oh, any specific ones you can think of?
Well, there are plenties in all around the world. It's not like one place. Like there are plenty. Like there are churches, and it's like perfect golden ratio. And
But that's not new. That's been around since ancient Greek times.
I know. And did that explain? That doesn't explain that. Yes. So this. So how ancient Roman built those monuments and.
Oh, they had that knowledge too.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but it feels like we lost that knowledge with the Great Reset. That's the whole point of the theory,
Oh, okay.
if you want to call it conspiracy theory.
So what actually happened in the Great Reset?
Well, there is talk about the mud flood, that they try to reset history, like delete part of it that belongs to Tartaria and like.
In the late 1800s?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not sure when it happened that they tried to reset it, but that's the conspiracy theory. Maybe I don't have all the sources about it, but it's a very interesting one.
Okay.
I'm like I'm watching. I'm doing my own research.
Oh, good. Good. Okay.
But it's just like it's a fun topic for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't
cool.
make me like doubt the clouds are real or not. But
Just going back to the golden ratio, though.
yeah.
I mean, I've grown up in the world of architecture and landscape design and things, and it's the fundamental thing that you learn in designing buildings to this day. It's nothing that's gone away. And as far as I know, the ancient Greeks were the ones that used it. Maybe not first, but that we became aware of. I would guess it goes back even further than that.
Well, I think the point with it is that they use those buildings to create free energy, 0 point energy. Like all those shapes and
Okay, yeah.
weren't just to look good. Like all the glasses, windows, and everything was to like generate energy from the like frequency of humans' voice and humans' energy.
Oh, that
inside
sounds
of
good.
it.
Yeah, wow.
And at the top, it has like an almost antenna that.
Wow.
I have to show some pictures for you guys.
You got me really curious now,
I have to show
mister.
some pictures to you. Maybe I can show you here. Have you seen any video or anything about Tartaria?
Not specific pictures, I haven't, but I read some stuff because you mentioned it earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hot topic now.
Oh, cool.
That's why I'm watching. I don't care if it's a hot topic or not. I like it.
Cool.
I'm watching it myself. As you see here, I like this picture.
Okay. It looks like a cathedral spire that I'm seeing the biggest one of.
Yeah.
It looks familiar. Not quite sure where. Yeah, cool. That's lovely.
So, but Tartarian.
But what comes to mind when you show me that picture, Mani, is it is for sure that the ancients, a lot of the people that built our ancient churches and mosques and monuments had a great knowledge of what you just said. The flow of energy in buildings, that's absolutely true. I don't know how it's connected to the Tartars, maybe it is, but and it's not only the buildings, but where they place them too. You'll find that a lot of the churches around in Europe, at least, are placed on ley lines, on spots where there's very special energy, even here in this country.
0 point energy, I would say.
I'm not quite sure what you term it, but it's where there is good energy. Yeah, yeah. So that's really true. And like I said, interesting to see what the Tartars have got to do with it. But I think what you're saying is got, from my understanding of building techniques, there's a lot of truth in it. You walk into an ancient church and nearly always feel a really good feeling, don't you? I do. I feel a deep calm, and there's a special atmosphere there. And okay, it might have been there in the ground too, in the space, but the way the building is built, the proportions and the details make a difference to creating that atmosphere.
Maybe they've been tapping into this frequency and these grid lines around the globe, and
since forever, yeah.
They had like these flying vehicles that could be charged on top of the buildings, and these are all conspiracy, by the way. There is no fact in it that I can, refer to, but
yeah,
it's very interesting. And the point with it is that in late 1800, it was this great reset with mud flood to destroy that.
Oh, okay.
And start the oil-based industry.
Oh, okay.
So the power source, the source of energy is oil and coal.
Well, I do know one bit of truth about what happened back then. Well, truth because it's documented happenings, and that is that electric vehicles and fossil fuel vehicles kind of came about the same time. But that the oil companies really pushed away the first electric cars, but also steam-driven cars to sell their product. So I mean that's a known fact, and that's why there is no public transport system in Los Angeles too. So I mean that's not quite what you're saying, but it's a little parallel there that we do know about. Yeah.
Well, they say in the Tartarian Empire, they already had electric vehicles.
Okay.
Not only vehicles, but all the like airplanes or whatever flying vehicles, you cannot call them airplanes, were charged by electricity that has been generated from ether.
Okay.
So that was the whole point, and they destroyed it. And they tried to get rid of all the buildings and everything, the one that is stand over the mud flood. But there are like buildings that underground, and when you dig in and you see windows, it goes under, for several floors.
I think this needs a lot more research, mister.
Yeah, I know. I like to when it comes to conspiracy, that's the fun part of it. It's fun to talk about it, but I'm not saying it's true.
No, I understand.
But it's entertaining. But at the same time, at some point, it might come out that it was true.
Yes, I understand.
I'm not closing the door on it.
No, I see some parallels to things you're saying that we know have some truths, at least in my world. And one of them is the ley lines. You can't destroy them, by the way. A friend of my father's in New Zealand, it's a man, Captain Bruce Cathy. He's written 2 books on this matter. He has observed in his time as a pilot, or had observed, he's dead now, the fact that UFOs followed very specific paths, mainly, not always, but mainly. And he's created this whole grid pattern over the planet where the sightings have been, and they've followed us exactly. So that pattern relay lines still exists, even if they try to wipe it out. I promise you, they're still there.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're absolutely real, and maybe the Tartarians knew this whenever they existed too.
Yeah.
So you're right. It's never good to.
Oh, thank you. I'm right. That's all I need to hear.
Yeah. I mean, they're right about ley lines and energy lines. That's what I really meant. So my point is, I think it's good not to debunk something that even sounds quite fanciful on the outside.
Yeah.
There'll be some degree of truth to it. It might not be what we think, but
Now.
well done.
Maybe later is.
Yeah, what we think now. Yeah, that's what I mean.
But later comes out that there was
a mud flood. Yeah.
Okay, there is this. Apparently, there is disclosure in December 12th out of any dates. What's with December 12th for me? That was the date of me seeing UFOs.
Oh yeah, okay.
So December 12th is going to be another disclosure.
Okay.
So let's see what they say.
That's 5 weeks.
Yeah, I know. It's very close.
Woohoo.
Yeah. And I want to, if they say something interesting or if they say what's happening actually, then I want to see these people that were spending their whole time studying and
good.
trying to debunk no, we are alone. I want to see their reaction because they're everywhere. They're on YouTube, they're on TVs. So I want to see what they say.
Okay.
I want to see how they turn. If we hear the truth. The truth about this.
A bit scared to use that word now. Yeah. I think I've ruined it for us.
Yeah, I think the truth is we're not at the stage of our evolution to actually talk in terms of like truth. We have like a long way to go.
Yeah.
I think these other beings, they get to the point that they know where they are, where they are in universe, what is actually happening. They know what they are. We don't know any of those things. So how can we talk about truth? Like, what do you know? You don't know shit.
But wait a minute. That's their truth and their point of development. But they're probably thinking the same thing. Oh God, what's the real truth? We've done this far, but what's next? That's a big question, of course, because I don't know either. But
I think there is level to it. Then what you're saying, there is level to it.
Yeah.
But we're very low right now in a scale of knowing the truth. We are like at the bottom.
Possibly. Maybe we know a little more than a rock. I'm not sure about that either.
No, rocks are apparently rocks can contain information, data. So they know a lot more than us, at least about the history.
Some of my best friends are rocks. Yeah.
Yes, there's silicon.
Yes.
So silicon-based technology that we have, that we save data and information on.
I think I should eat my own words, shouldn't I?
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, God.
Okay, I think we got it. Do you have something to say?
No, that was really fun.
Let's see if we record anything. Wouldn't that be funny?